When a journalist took a jab at Barron Trump during a prestigious charity gala, no one expected his composed reaction to not only silence the room but completely shift the night's narrative. His response? It wasn't just dignified. It stole the show in a way that left everyone speechless. The grand ballroom at the Fairmont Grand Hotel was a vision of luxury. Majestic crystal chandeliers cast shimmering reflections across the room, illuminating a sea of elegantly dressed guests. The low hum of sophisticated conversation filled the air, mingling with the soft melodies of a live string quartet. The annual charity gala was in full swing, bringing together an elite crowd: business tycoons, celebrated actors, influential journalists, all gathered to support a noble cause, funding programs for underprivileged youth. Beneath the grandeur, however, an undercurrent of anticipation rippled through the room. Excitement buzzed as the evening's keynote speaker, a journalist known for their razor-sharp wit and fearless commentary, prepared to take the stage. Among the many attendees, seated quietly at the back in a less conspicuous corner, was Barron Trump. At just 18 years old, his tall, statuesque presence was impossible to ignore, though he made no effort to command attention. Invited by a close family friend, Barron's presence wasn't meant to be headline-worthy. It was simply a quiet introduction to a different social circle. While others thrived in the spotlight, Barron seemed perfectly content observing. His piercing blue eyes swept across the room, his demeanor composed, revealing a depth of calm beyond his years. The night unfolded smoothly. Champagne flowed, laughter rippled through conversations, and the atmosphere exuded effortless sophistication. As waitstaff elegantly navigated the room, serving exquisite hors d'oeuvres, murmurs of expectation grew. Everyone knew that the real highlight of the night was still to come: the much-anticipated speech by the evening's guest of honor. The journalist, a renowned figure in liberal media circles, had been announced weeks in advance, fueling speculation about what they would say. Famous for their sharp-tongued critiques and unapologetic opinions, they were celebrated by many but also known for stirring controversy. As they took the stage, impeccably dressed in a sleek black suit, confidence radiated from their every move. The audience responded with polite applause, though a subtle tension crackled beneath the surface. Would they push boundaries tonight, as they so often did? No one was prepared for just how far they would go. At first, the speech was exactly what everyone expected: lighthearted, engaging, and full of charm. The journalist began with casual anecdotes, joking about the city's relentless traffic and recalling a past gala mishap involving a collapsed champagne tower. The audience chuckled, enjoying the warm and familiar rhythm of well-crafted storytelling. But then the tone shifted. What started as general social commentary quickly morphed into a more pointed critique of politics and culture. The journalist poked fun at various well-known public figures, each joke drawing a mix of chuckles and nervous glances. Then, the target changed, landing squarely on Donald Trump. "Well, let's be honest," the journalist quipped, their voice dripping with amusement. "We can't talk about the state of the world without mentioning the man who single-handedly made orange the new black." Scattered laughter rippled through the room, though some guests shifted uncomfortably. Love him or hate him, you have to admit, he's the gift that keeps on giving for people like me, at least. The response was mixed. Some laughed openly, others fidgeted, unsure how far this would go. At the back of the room, Barron Trump remained still, his expression unreadable. If the journalist was aware of his presence, they gave no indication, at least not yet. And then it happened. With an exaggerated pause, the journalist continued, "And, of course, we can't ignore his greatest legacy, the next generation. I mean, let's talk about Barron." A sharp gasp swept across the room. Heads turned toward the young man who had, until now, been nothing more than an unnoticed guest in the background. The journalist's tone remained playful, but the words carried an unmistakable sting. Imagine growing up in a golden tower, surrounded by marble everything, while your dad tweets about covfefe, and the rest of us are just trying to survive Monday mornings. That must have been character building. Nervous laughter flickered through the crowd, but it quickly faded. The room, once filled with animated conversation, fell into a thick, waited silence. The attention, unwanted, unasked for, was now solely on Barron Trump. Yet, instead of shrinking under the sudden spotlight, Barron remained composed. He didn't flinch. He didn't shift. He didn't so much as raise an eyebrow. His silence spoke volumes, and in that moment, it became clear he wasn't just enduring this moment. He was commanding it. Even the journalist faltered. Their once confident smirk wavered as they stole a glance in Barron's direction, perhaps expecting a laugh, a dismissive shrug, some kind of reaction. But all they got was quiet, unshakable defiance. And then Barron moved. Deliberately, he pushed back his chair and rose to his full height. At over 6 feet tall, his presence alone was striking, but it was the way he carried himself that captivated the room. With measured steps, he approached the stage, his every movement exuding calm control. The audience held its breath, eyes wide with anticipation. Even the journalist, who moments ago had been the master of the room, now stood frozen, caught off guard by the unexpected turn of events. Stopping just short of the podium, Barron turned to face the journalist. Then, with a voice steady and sure, he spoke. "Thank you for your insight." The words were simple, but their impact was seismic. He wasn't defensive. He wasn't angry. He wasn't even rattled. Instead, his tone carried an unsettling grace, a kind of quiet power that demanded respect. "I've spent my life watching people make assumptions about me, my family, and the world I grew up in," he continued, his piercing gaze locking onto the journalist. "I understand. It's easy to fill in the blanks when you don't know the full story. And I get it. We're public figures. It comes with the territory." The audience sat in complete silence, utterly captivated. But Barron added, his voice unwavering, "Behind every headline, behind every joke, there's a person. Someone with their own struggles, their own dreams, their own story. And just because someone is in the public eye doesn't mean they're fair game to be reduced to a punchline." The journalist shifted, visibly uncomfortable. The weight of Barron's words settled over the room like a thick fog, forcing a level of introspection no one had anticipated. "Respect," Barron said finally, "isn't something you earn. It's something you choose to give." The silence that followed was deafening. And then applause. First hesitant, then thunderous, erupting into a standing ovation that shook the walls. By the time the night was over, one thing was clear. Barron Trump had just taught an entire room a lesson they wouldn't soon forget. And the world? Well, they were listening too.